It's a nice little look.
Oh man, that looked delicious.
Yeah, that is a good look.
The nose is good. I mean, it's hoppy, but you can get the tangerine. Let me.
Sunny D in the brew.
You like IPAs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you'll fuck with this. That's good.
Hey, new
I know what my man likes. We fuck with IPA.
That's classic right there. I'm chopping that up for the clip.
What'd you say?
I said new T-shirt alert.
Oh.
That's good.
That is a dope name, dope T-shirt tag. Yeah, you fuck with that.
Right. I mean, whatever it is, you'll fuck with it.
I think we got the episode title too.
Hey, man.
F with that.
Right.
Hops and Stocks podcast is presented by 100 Spoke Media Group. We encourage our listeners to drink responsibly. Please note, we are not financial advisors. We do not offer or provide financial advice.
I'm Spoke affiliated from the city of Jim.
Welcome back to the Hops and Stocks podcast, brought to you by 100 Spoke Media Group. This is episode 74. We want to welcome special guest Vernon Evans.
What's up, Vernon?
What's going on, everybody? Glad to be here.
Man,
Yeah. Good seeing you, man.
Good
Sure.
to see y'all too, man. I missed those battles.
Shout out to FNL, man.
man, that was a good time and good period of time, man.
Classic nights, man.
Yeah. How's everybody's week going, man?
Man.
All
You know,
good,
this-
man.
This weather is bipolar, you know.
Yeah, it done got a little chilly bone in Nashville. It was 23 this morning. I was like, hey, man, this is more confirmation that I need to keep going further south.
Hey, man, it was this meme that said something like spring, fight back, bitch. Or something like that.
We still, a week, officially, a week away from spring?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's still
Yeah.
winter.
Okay, I can dig it.
Yeah.
Man,
That's funny.
we about to go ahead and kick it off into this beer review, man. I'm going to slide it to, man, you ain't even to my visual left. Mr. B-Dub, what you got in your can, brother?
Where am I at?
Man, you like down and left.
Well, let's Can you see? Well, let's talk about it. This one is Gnommegang. See little gnomes on there?
Mhm.
It's a Belgium style blonde ale. It's from Cooperstown, New York. Off the topic we had last week with Eagle in New York and his visit. Figured I'd get one from New York. This is a 9.5 Belgian style. All right, poured him up. Shout out to Chicago. Hope we do something in the draft. All the moves we made. Kind of salty to see Montgomery go, but you know.
No, I didn't know that Montgomery's gone.
He's now with the Lions.
Oh, damn.
So,
He did us
yeah.
like that?
Only thing worse than that is go to Green Bay, but you know it is what it is. But yeah, bear down and all that. But yeah, Belgium style. It smells fruity.
Belgium style wood. I knew I would get it.
Off top, it's smooth, but it's got a little, for some reason, got a little spice to it. If you like Stella, this will probably be right up your alley. I was thinking that it's almost like a Blue Moon, but it's not almost that similar to that. You would think you see the little orange in the Blue Moon, but that's not a traditional garnish for Belgium style ale. So everybody likes to put those little oranges in their drink when you drink a Belgium style drink, but that's not even a tradition when you're drinking these. Not bad.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's a 3 something.
Nah, it's a solid 4.
No, hey man, 4 is the new 3 something, man.
I kept telling y'all, man.
It's not a bad beer. I just ain't had a Belgium in a while. Usually on some stouts. I get it's a solid 4. I mean, it's It's light. The pack of punch is coming in at 9.5.
Jeez.
So it's got a little wallop to it. It's not bad beer.
Man,
Cooperstown.
start questioning our integrity, man.
What?
With these, like I told y'all, man, Blast just said it, man. Like the 4 is the new 375, man.
Now listen here, man.
Nah, man, I'm right here, right now. I vote that we go new grading scale, trash or not trash, man. Plain
Okay. So I'll be the first to go to that scale. This is trash then.
Now we get the truth. You know what I'm saying?
There's no middle ground. If it's either fire or not fire, this is trash.
There has to be some middle ground.
Even though I like it, you know what I'm saying? So Cooperstown, y'all probably know what this is known for. Baseball Hall of Fame, Abner Doubleday. So E's new grading scale. This Gnommegang is trash.
Dang, man.
Oh, man, I'm like, we're gonna lose a lot of potential sponsors.
Like ARS.
But it's really not though. It's really like a 4 1/4, but according to E, it's trash. So 4 1/4, Gnommegang series, Cooperstown, New York, trash. What you got there, Blast?
All right, man. I'm gonna keep it going with the Coconut Phantom Unicorn. It is a barrel-aged imperial stout. That's 2 weeks in a row for me. I got to switch things up here. ALC 13.3. Barrel-aged imperial stout with coconut, vanilla, cocoa nibs, and lactose from Pipeworks Brewing. Let's see.
About to tear your stomach to pieces.
Down in the Natty, right? No, that's not Pipeworks.
Pipeworks,
Nice
I think it's Chi-Town.
Chi-Town. What am I thinking down in the Natty that sounds like that?
Oh, Grainworks.
Okay.
I don't think y'all like Grainworks, right?
Nah, man.
Struggle. Trash.
Yeah.
It was a bad establishment too, man. It was kind of
It was bad barnyard decor, man.
right.
The infrastructure was bad.
It was horrible structure.
Y'all probably didn't feel comfortable in there. Y'all was probably the only
It
bros.
seemed like the only thing on the menu was like corn dogs or some shit.
Corn dogs.
All right. Well, I think I got to give this a 4.
That means
Blast. You know what the scale is now, man.
Well, let me see. You're getting a little bit of the coconut. There's some toasted notes up in here. I don't know if I guess that would be coffee. It's not really listed as one of the notes on the can. I don't know, man. It's just all right.
It's trash.
How long you had it open?
Since 7 at least. I learned my lesson from last week, so I'm definitely not. It's a little bit weaker than the one from last week too, but it's not so jig forward as what last week's was.
What's the ABV?
13.3.
Oh,
That's what I thought. I thought it would be jig heavy at 13.3. I'm shocked.
Well, I mean, last week you said, leave them joints open for like 45 minutes. So I cracked it at 7. So it's definitely more well blended, at least off the top, than that one I had last week. I think I'm going to go 3.75, man. Just okay.
3.7 trash.
See, you have a legit trash. Mine is sports trash.
Man, 3.75 is not trash, man.
Man, that's the bailout, man. 3.75.
Well, no, man. This is a decent brew if you're into decent brews. If you like something a little better than decent, then this might not be for you.
I can dig it.
I'm gonna send it to Tolls though, man.
All right. Hey, man. It's good to be back.
Yeah, man. Welcome back.
Good to have you back.
I've been messing with these tangerines, man. I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah, who makes that?
My infrastructure is different now. It's called Equilibrium.
Oh yeah.
Out in New York. It's a
I rock with them.
oh, you do? Okay. Tangerine Peel Laboratory. It's a triple IPA with tangerines. It's 10.2 AOC.
Damn.
You got that down there in Natty?
Yeah. I went to First trip to the honey hole in a long time. Shout out to Courtney. She helped me out this time. And Courtney and some other little cat she was with. He wanted to shout out. She said she listens all the time. She said they'll put the podcast on in the back and they'll just work and listen to us. So
that's what's
shout out to Courtney. It's a nice little look.
Oh man, that looked delicious.
Yeah, that is a good look.
The nose is good. I mean, it's hoppy, but you can get the tangerine. Let me.
Sunny D in the brew.
You like IPAs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you'll fuck with this. That's good.
Hey, new
I know what my man likes. We fuck with IPA.
alert.
That's classic right there. I'm chopping that up for the clip.
What'd you say?
I said new T-shirt alert.
Oh,
That's good.
That is a dope name, dope t-shirt tag. You fuck with that.
Right. I mean, whatever it is, you'll fuck with it.
I think we got the episode title too.
Hey man,
F with that.
Right.
this is not trash. If that's a non-trash beer right here.
What's it on the 1 to 5?
We're not supposed to do that, man. I'm not gonna give a number if nobody else gives a number.
Man, I gave a number.
They did.
Oh, you gave a number?
Yeah.
Last said 3.75 and Dub said 4 1/4.
4.25.
I mean, 10%. I take all the variables into account. Tangerine, I'm getting 10.8%. I'm gonna get where I want to be.
Man,
And it's
might have to ride by and get one of those.
it's an IPA, which I really don't. Sometimes I think they're a little too hoppy, too bitter. This is good, man.
I forgot this was on IBUs was 2026.
Yeah, I don't know my IBs. They have to be low. This is an easy drink, man. I would give this 4.75, if not the 5.
Woo.
How much for the single?
Like I think $4.
That ain't bad at all.
Shit, it's already got my belly kind of warm. I mean, you know what I mean? I ain't been drinking a whole lot.
Yummy.
This damn Pipeworks cost me 10.
Jeez. Damn.
Yep, 10 for decent.
And it's trash.
Nah, man, it's decent. 10 for decent, man. I mean, it's up to you if you think 10 is a good value for decent.
No, man.
Hey, man, if I go in spending 10 for one, it better be like,
It better be a
it
class.
better get me high. I better be high.
Yeah, it better do something Barry ain't supposed to get you
Right. Yeah, it should do something else. $10 for one. Jeez. Hey, man, I recommend it. Good job, Equilibrium. This is my first Equilibrium beer, Tangerine Peel, Laboratory.
Yeah, they do IPAs well. It's probably one of my favorite breweries when it comes to IPAs.
Hey, I see why.
Yeah.
For the record, man, this wasn't trash, man. So shout out to Ommegang, man. Y'all wasn't trash.
Gnommegang.
I'm gonna round out the reviews without doing a review. I don't like this can. I don't like anything in it.
Yeah.
And that's all I'm gonna say about it.
What is it? I mean,
Well, it's called Wheezing in the Juice.
okay. I mean, that's a different type of can, though.
Yeah,
Look
well,
like you're talking
Look
to
like Hawaiian Punch or something.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
I
a
was
Hawaiian
thinking-
Punch.
kids, like you're talking
What's
to
the-
children.
man, what's them little pops? The red, white, and pop. I was thinking it was gonna be like that when I picked it up. I didn't even pay attention to the notes, but it's a fruited sour with vanilla, tangerine, blood orange, and lactose. It's just an okay brew. Thumbs down though.
Like how far thumbs down? Like what we looking at here?
3.5.
Yeah, we be 3.5 on that one.
You can go low if you want to.
No, I definitely wouldn't buy it again. It's just okay. It don't do nothing for me. I don't even know who it's by. Who's it by? Mirror Twin Brewing Company out of I don't even know where they out of. That's why they trash. Don't even tell you. This. Oh, actually, it's out of Lexington. It's the
Okay.
map of Kentucky on there.
Hey, why?
Yeah. No shout out to Mirror Twin Brewing Company.
No shout out while you're shouting them out.
Hey man,
Lexington's
we're gonna
struggles, man.
introduce our special guest. Vernon Evans II.
Yeah.
Vern is an attorney, entrepreneur, and now published author.
Yeah.
Copped the book a couple of days ago, got here, ordered through Amazon. Truth Transparency, I read this joint this morning, real quick read. It's a children's book, so I read it in about like 20 minutes, man.
So it was tough to understand for you.
Man, you know what I'm saying? You know me with my Patterson education, man. You know, literacy ain't my strong suit. You know what I'm saying? But I know Vern said this is loosely based, or is it based upon, you know what I'm saying, how you grew up?
First, man, you gotta rate it. Is it trash or not trash, baby?
Oh man, it's definitely not trash, man.
Hey, I appreciate that. Loosely based. It's loose. I mean, the main guy's name is Marcus. You know what I'm saying? He's a single mother. I had a single mom. It's me and my sister. But a lot of the stories, the most, I guess, the most heartfelt part that people feel the most, but the kid was crying, waiting for his dad out front all day. That happened, but a lot of other stuff is loosely based. Like my one of my best friends growing up, his dad was my father down the street. You know what I mean? He used to take a whole bunch of kids to play ball, to show us things and give us good advice. And even growing up, we went from, hanging out, playing video games with his son to, drinking and chilling out in the yard. So he was definitely my father down the street, but a lot of the stuff was my imagination in the book, except that one part that was the kid was waiting for his dad to pick him up in front of the crib all day and he never came.
Yeah, when I was reading it this morning, I was like, man, this is honestly, and once again, I wouldn't shit you, man. Like if it was trash, I would tell you.
I know you would. That's why I asked. I would legit tell you it was
trash. But I think it's really relatable, and unfortunately, it's almost an accurate picture of our community. You know what I'm saying? But before we hop all the way deep into the book, let's back up a little bit and
Can you read it for us real quick?
Nah, allow you to properly introduce yourself and, give some of your background and, how you got to the point of, writing a children's book.
All right. As you said, my name is Vernon Evans, personal injury attorney, barred in California and Nevada. I'm from San Diego, California. My mom grew up in the worst part, Southeast San Diego, a lot of gangs, drugs, things like that. And a lot of our families into that type thing. And so my mom moved from Southeast San Diego early on to Oceanside, which still has gangs and drugs, but not nearly as bad and didn't have that deep family influence. You know what I mean? And so she moved me and my sister father wasn't around. I think he left my mom when I was like in kindergarten or first grade, something like that. Grew up well though. My mom was a hard worker. Gave us a good life. At 17, I went to Ohio State. Fucked that all off. Mike Wiley's my cousin. I was hanging out with him all summer, kicking it, going to the red zone, 17, kicking it with grown women, grown folks, and wasn't ready for school when school started. You know what I mean? And so my mom was mad. I think my second semester, I had second quarter, had another round of bad grades. She called me. I'm drinking, smoking, and she just yelling at me. And I was like, well, don't pay for it. She said, I ain't paying for you to go to school to be messing up. I said, well, don't pay. She's like, what? I said, don't pay. She's like, all right, you have a good night.
Man, that's some tough talk, man.
Yeah, real tough. I kind of.
You was drunk. Hey, you was really drunk.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I can't imagine saying that to my dad. Like, well, don't pay then.
Yeah, I was like, she was right. I was BSing. That's probably the reason why I was drinking and smoking that night. I understand I was messing up the opportunity I was given. And I knew I could do better, but then, she was also starting to ignore me too, probably the drunkenness. I was drinking something that probably wasn't trash.
I don't know, man. At 17, you might have been drinking some trash.
It was off that hypnotic or something.
It could have been. It could have been. Well, you know, first quarter I did bad. I was hanging with Mike, and he was like, "Oh man, everybody called him. My mom, his mom called him. Nobody called me." So he was like, "Man, you gotta go to the dorms." Like that was some type of punishment. You know what I'm saying? So I was chilling this badly off. It worse the second semester than I did the first. But I stayed a little while in Ohio State, and then came back to California. The whole family was mad at me because I squandered the opportunity. I was like, I'm gonna show them, you know what I'm saying? I worked all summer. Like, I'm gonna go back and go to school. And my cousin was drafted by the Cowboys then, so he was gone, but I was still hanging out. I went and moved back with Mark P. Was hanging with Bob and everybody. Never got back into school.
Shout out to Bob, man. Bob made the podcast.
Bob, man, that's my man. That's like a big brother, man. Him and Mark P. So, you know,
shout out to Mark P too, man.
Yeah, that's man. I love Mark P. Love him to death. So I went back to California. Fast forward, you know, and then like 2003, 2004. This is '99 when I went to Ohio State. 2003, 2004. I got into a little situation with the police. I think I ended up trying to sell some cats some ecstasy pills. He didn't know it. He was wired for sound, you know what I mean, with the police. And I found out a year later I had a warrant for my arrest. Of course, I didn't turn myself in. But after that, I got into a car accident not too long after that. And of course, my warrant came up, so I went to jail. Tried to call my mom from jail, and I have an uncle who, from 15 to 27, he was in prison for something crazy and then going to jail his whole life. So my mom, she put a block on her phone. So we couldn't even answer the phone for collect calls. So I tried to call my mom. There was a block on the phone. Of course, I called my sister, and, you know, my sister, you know, my mom, they got me out. Like 2 weeks later, I go to answer the phone, and it's a collect call. I mean, from jail. And I was like, damn, we don't even accept collect calls. And I hang up. I mean, we don't accept calls from prison. And then I was like, wait a minute, how did that even get through? Mm-hmm. I was like, man, my mom must have took the block off the phone because she thought I was going to call her from jail or prison. And that broke my heart. I asked her about it a little later, and she was like, yeah, that's why I took the block off the phone. And so I really had to sit down, like, man, what are you doing? You know what I mean? Your mom, I took the block off the phone because she think you about to call her from prison. And I kind of put myself on timeout, like grounded myself. People thought I moved. I was really just in the house thinking, reading books. I started doing Muay Thai kickboxing. And for anybody that did anything like that, you know, it's some hellacious work. And I was reading about all these people like Patrice Lumumba, Mohandas Gandhi, Arnold Schwarzenegger, people that really turned their situation from where it was to something greater. And I was like, man, I can do anything I want to do as long as I work hard enough. So I decided to go back to school, go to law school, things like that. So I'm enrolled in the community college, did really well there, transferred to UC Berkeley, finished Berkeley with a 3.5 GPA from the 2 years I did there. Applied to the top 20 law schools. Of course, I went to Ohio State.
3.5 is not trash, man. That's a good.
No, not trash. Not trash.
Man, I'm like, you talking about like Aaron Rodgers, Cal Berkeley?
Yeah, UC Berkeley.
Yeah, that's an impressive 3.5.
Hey, that's not trash.
And it was upper level, so it was all writing papers, and that terrified me.
That's nice.
Yeah, thank you, appreciate it. And I left out that I went to Texas. I stayed with my cousin for a little bit and went to community college out there. It didn't do well. So I had to send all my transcripts to all these law schools, not just the all A's I did for community college, but the trash of those state and the almost are pretty much trash in Texas. And so all those top 20 schools said, you're trash, you know what I'm saying? Me. But I applied to Thomas Jefferson, which was a tier 4 school in San Diego, and I got accepted did really well my first year and transferred to University of San Diego, which was a top 50 or top 60 school. Graduated from there, and I started working at a pretty big firm down there. And fast forward a little bit, I moved out to Las Vegas with the wife, took another bar, and got into personal injury. But when I was in San Diego before I moved to Vegas, I was talking to my nephew, and same situation with the what was in the book. He was talking about his father who wasn't just in title only, wasn't really around. And he was telling me about how his dad was calling, saying he's going to pick him up, never going up for him, things like that. And I told him that was a lot like my childhood. And I was starting to think, I was like, man, that's too many kids' childhood, And so I started thinking about writing a book. That's my nephew. I was like, hey, man, let's write this book together. He's 16 now, so he was like 13, 14 then, because I wrote it a couple of years ago, just got it edited. And he was kind of BSing, so I wrote it on my own, but didn't do anything about it. But recently I decided, I think last year I decided to get with an editor or illustrator, and she went ahead and I thought did some amazing pictures. And so I recently put it out. It's been out since like February 26th or 27th or something. And so far it's been amazing, man. One of my good friends, he bought like 10 copies and his daughter was reading one. She gave me a video review, told me how amazing it was. And that touched me to my soul, and I was like, I'm about to write another book. So I already finished another book called Not All Superheroes Wear Capes. And it's mainly about single mothers.
That's dope.
Yeah, thank you. And it was funny because as soon as the week it came out here in Nevada, it was Nevada Reading Week. And my wife's cousin works in one of the schools, elementary schools, and I asked her if I could go read it for a couple kids. And I thought I was going to read it for one class, but they was like, yeah, we got 5 classes you can read. 2 4th grade classes, 1 3rd grade, and then 2 kindergarten. I don't know why they had me reading some kindergarten. Some kids didn't care anything about it. It was trash to all of them, you know what I mean? But the dopest thing about that whole situation was they gave all the readers a student that would take them around because the school was like a maze. And there was a 5th grader, a very impressive young man named Kingston. And when I was walking in between, he was like, I'm not adopted, but my parents were fighting a lot and my dad's in jail. And so I live with my aunt and uncle. And this story is really relatable to me. And I was just talking to him in between all these classes that I was going to. And I thought that was the best part because I had to talk to him a lot. And he's an impressive young man. He was a president of that elementary. He was in 4 different sports and had some dreams and aspirations. And I was just telling him, anything he can do. First, I say his parents love him, you know what I mean? And he was very lucky to have an aunt and uncle that love him as well, and a strong family. And so I thought that was real cool, man. It touched me that he found it relatable to a couple kids, not in kindergarten, told me they liked the book and they wanted to buy it. So I sent them a link, and I just thought it was cool, man, because that's what I wanted, man. I really want children, boys and girls, to know that even though they're missing that positive role model in their home, they can find it outside of the home and still do and be great.
Yeah.
And so I thought that was cool that Kingston liked my story, man. That really touched me to my heart.
That's a very, it's an inspirational story you got there, man.
Yeah.
So growing up in San Diego and Oceanside, what did you have any plan? What brought you to Columbus? Was it Mike?
It was Mike. It was all Mike, man. Because my mom had married my stepdad, and before they got married, he was real cool. But after they got married, and he was younger than my mom, so I don't know if he thought he had to be stern or something. So we used to start bumping heads as soon as they got married, and I didn't like the person my mom was really turning into around her. So I applied to all out-of-state schools. I was either going to Grambling or Ohio State or some other LSU. And when I got into Ohio State, which was late, I got in Ohio State after I graduated. I was just hanging with my boys smoking and went to check the mail and saw 2 letters from O State. So I was like, oh man, I'm going to O State. You know what I'm saying? Because Mike was like my big brother, father figure, all that, hero growing up. So I was like, yeah, I'm definitely going to O State.
Y'all went to the same high school?
For a minute. So because my mom and my stepdad's from Cleveland, my parents were going to move to Cleveland. I was like, yeah, I'm not moving to Cleveland. And so Mike and his mom for the summer going into my freshman year. So me and Mike are 3 years apart. So he was a senior and I was going in my freshman year. And so first thing they do, they know Mike Wiley's cousin. They're like, man, put him at running back. I got Osgood slide. I don't know if you know what that is. I got bad knees. I'm overweight. I was like, man, they put me there like, yeah, move him to linebacker or tight end, man. He ain't got it. He ain't got it. But yeah, so I went there for all summer and I stayed with him for a little bit when school started. And then I was going to visit my parents shortly before they went to Cleveland. And it was so crazy, I didn't want to go. And it turned out that they actually decided not to move to Cleveland. And when I got there, they said, oh, you're moving back here. You know, we ain't moving to Cleveland. So they tricked me into coming back. But of course, it was where I grew up at. So it was all love to go there. I moved it was El Camino High School. I'm not sure if you remember who Brian Westbrook was. Right. Played football at Texas and the Detroit Lions back in the day. Michael Booker played for the Falcons. So the school was a really good football school too. But again, I still had Osgood Slaughter and was a little overweight. So football wasn't my forte.
Yeah. So man,
go ahead. No, I was just gonna say, was law school the end game? Like, did you know you always wanted to go that route?
Yeah, early on it was funny, man. I was big into Johnny Cochran, man. All things Johnny Cochran, I loved it. And when I knew he was an attorney, I was like, I want to be an attorney. I thought law school was college. I thought you go to high school and go to law school. But I was like, you gotta go to college and then go to another school. And I didn't have nobody steering. I didn't have my father down the street to tell me I was tripping. So I kind of let go of that dream early. But when I was sitting down thinking about, because I was soul searching, man. After my mom took that block off the phone, that hurt me to my heart. Mm-hmm. And I was really soul searching. And I was like, what do I want to do? I don't want to just run into something that I can't put my all into because I know it'll fail. And when it came up, it was like, I think I was reading a Johnny Cochran book and it was like, man, you want to go to law school. And I was like, I did want to go to law school. So that was a kind of an end-all dream. I wanted to do a lot of civil rights work and do criminal law, but in law school, I couldn't get no opportunities from the city or for defense attorneys. But I worked, did an internship with Sony, did an internship with this defense law firm, and I saw how personal injury dudes was financially successful, and I was like, yeah, I want to do that.
Yeah. Hey, let me hop in real quick because he touched on it a second time. Vern, I just want you to kind of expand on that moment when you realized your mom took the block off the phone, because it seems like that was such an important crossroads in your life. And it kind of propels you to, change things around. So if you could just kind of expand on that a little bit before we move forward.
Yeah, definitely, man. So,
because you caught that too. Like somebody might not catch that.
Yeah.
Like, why is the block off the phone? But you caught it and thought about it and realized it was you.
Just a week or two earlier, I tried to get a call to go through, and it didn't. And I was like, damn. Oh yeah, we got a block on the phone. And we always have blocks on our phone because again, my mom's little brother, when he was 15, he was in gangs in San Diego and got caught up in something. He was in prison from 15 to like 27, 28. And then every couple of years after that, he's in prison now. But we always have blocks on our phone. So a call couldn't get through. And I think my sister, some of her boyfriends, you know what I'm saying, try to call the crib. And I just know you ain't getting through. You call my mom's house from jail, you know what I mean? And so crazy enough, first thing you do is call your mama. So I tried to call her from jail. And of course, it said call can't go through. So I called my sister. But that was a touching moment, man, because even when I was telling this story, I probably was telling somebody a story like this less than a year ago, and I almost cried, man, just because it choked me up. And I didn't even let my mom get in the house. I saw her car come up, and I just went and opened the door for her, and I was like, hey, did you take the block off the phone because you thought I might call you from jail again? And she looked at me in my eyes and said, yeah. And I was like, man, you don't never have to call, I'll never call you from jail again. And I wish that was true, because shortly later, my dumb ass got a DUI. Almost ruined the whole shit, man. Tell you that story too if you want to hear. But yeah, so when she told me that again, like I said, man, at that time, I think I was either working or looking for a job, because I remember I was checking out books from the library, from the library, turned in or rechecked out quickly. And I was devouring books. And then after I think I got a job, I trying to come out, but then they was like, man, you need to return this book. So I started buying it from Amazon. And I came out the house really for 6 months, besides unless I was going to work or doing something that required me to leave the house. But hang out with people in the neighborhood, smoking weed, stuff like that, I wasn't doing it. People that I saw was like, man, we thought you moved. I was like, I kind of did, you know what I'm saying? And besides kickboxing and whatever else I was doing, I completely changed, man. And it was all right too, bro, because once I got, once I finished the program, I knew I wanted to go to school, but I had to work. And it was funny because people thought, oh, you live with your mom, you can save some money. I was like, nah, my mom, she getting paid. So I think I paid like $600 a month. And to get with a friend, but I knew most of the cats I hung around, they were irresponsible. So we probably get an apartment together, and in a month or two, they ain't gonna be able to make rent. So I stayed home. But I knew they were coming along, hey mom, I'm gonna go to school, because my track record was trash. You know, she already wasted money at Old State. I just got arrested. She wasn't fooling me like that. I think she found some weed in the house when I was trying to sell some for a short period of time. So she didn't think I was taking things serious. And so luckily, by the grace of God, I found a job that was working with a crazy schedule. And I was able to work and go to school. And I really found some comfort in that busy schedule and really thrived working full time, going to school. I had to work every Saturday because I would leave work early to go to one class and come back, finish up, and then go back to school, and did really well. Like I said, I had all A's for the first year and a half. And then that's when a friend of mine called me to meet him in Carlsbad. That's area right by Oceanside. It was for my birthday. It's all man come. I was like, man, pick me up. I already been drinking, you know what I'm saying? It's my birthday. I'm born on 4th of July. So I think I was watching some Rampage UFC, smoking with my neighbors and drinking. It's all, man, we already here. Just come on. So I'm driving, banging sugar-free. Carlsbad's all white neighborhood.
You said banging sugar-free?
Yeah. I'm ready to give you my bitch. You know what I'm saying? So I'm pulling into the club, and the police pull me over as I'm pulling in. And one of the cops, racist, one's cool. He told me he pulled me over because I was listening to my music. I had like a 2006 Ford Fusion with no speakers, so I wasn't bumping by no means. You know what I'm saying? It was a decent factory stereo, but no bump. But yeah, so he pulled me over, and they asked me, what did he ask me? He said he smelled alcohol and wanted to do a test. And I thought I did well, even my dumb ass Nash. I was like, hey, how am I doing?
He said, I thought I did well.
You know how you doing? I know how I'm doing. I'm killing this shit. I felt good until I had to do that breathalyzer. You know, and I was like, oh, okay. I think I was still like right at, or I think I blew like a 0.08 or right above the limit. And you know, they took me in, but the cop, he was not the racist one that hating on sugar-free, but the other one, he was like, hey, you've been real cooperative, so I'm gonna give you a choice. I can tow the car. I was like, damn, that's my first choice. He said, or I can park it and you can pick it up tomorrow. I was like, oh, please park it. And he was like, if somebody breaks in, we're not responsible. And I was like, cool. And at first I was looking at that wrong. I was like, man, that racist cop, blah, blah, blah. But I thought that was God saving me because I was already drinking and smoking. I would have went in there and drank and smoked a lot more and drove home. So I'm thinking God intervened, saved me yet again. And so I was grateful for that, you know what I mean? And then when I got out the next day, when everybody that was getting out was at red towing, they kept saying, your car's at the tow yard, the tow yard. The lady wasn't even looking up. And she said, your car is at the scene. She was confused, like, why is your car at the scene? Okay, the cop didn't tow it. So, yeah, I just wanted to throw that part in, man. But my mom, she mentioned that's what I put in the back of my book. Oh, sorry?
Did the racist cop give you a break, or was it the other cop?
No, it was the other cop. The racist cop, he was the one talking about the pull me over for what I was listening to. It wasn't even for your driving. It was for what you were listening to. I mean, it wasn't even that loud. I was like sugar-free. You know what I'm saying? I was still in a good mood talking shit because I didn't think I was drunk. And I know I wasn't driving crazy. But again, I just look at it as a blessing and at the end of the day, because I know how I used to get faded, back out, do something stupid, and next thing you know, I probably drove home and hurt myself or somebody else. So I just had to take that as a blessing. But I was scared because, you know, I had to go to court, and I was like, oh wait, I was just about to get on probation for this. It was like the next month, like the judgment. So with the pills, I had to do some drug program and hit a deferred entry of judgment, meaning if I stay out of trouble, it's like it never happened. And so when I went to jail for the DUI, the judge didn't count it as a violation. So I'm walking around like I'm Tupac coming out of court, got him won something, right? And the clerk at the office, at the courthouse, she was like, I don't know why you're so happy. You still got to go see Judge Whoop-de-Whoop. And he's the one that really determined what's going on. So she knocked the cool out of my walk. So I was scared for about a month. And that's why I was scrambling. I was like, what can I do? So I was trying to talk to teachers to give me character letters. And one teacher who was like, I thought was super cool, I kept asking for a character letter, but I wouldn't tell her what it was for. I was like, could you write me a character letter just the right type of person I am in your class? She was like, yeah, but who's it to? I was like, oh, I just need a character letter. And for like 2 weeks, I was like, man, it's getting close to the deadline. She keep asking. And what happened? I got a DUI, I need to write it. And this cool teacher was like mortified and wouldn't write the letter. So I asked my English teacher, who was like a square, real nice lady, but she had us reading all these black books, like by Toni Morrison, I think The Bluest Eye Ever, and a couple other books. And so I went to talk to her and said, hey, Miss Hanson, would you mind writing me a character letter? And she was like, sure, what's it for? And I told her, she's like, okay, I can do that. So she wrote me the letter. So I took that character letter and my grades, which I have a year and a half of all A's. I show up to court and it's a packed calendar. There's like 10 names on it. I'm the only person there. It's the judge, the bailiff, the prosecutor, the public defender, and me. The judge calls 2 or 3 names and nobody says anything. I'm looking around. I don't know why I'm looking around because nobody's there, but I'm looking around anyway, like, where is everybody? And then the judge said, hey, what's your name? I said, Vernon Evans. So he looked at his paper and then he talked to the public defender. I don't know her name, but he said, Sue, would you talk to Mr. Vernon Evans? So he said, Sue, what are you about to do right now? She said, I'm going back to the office. My client never showed up. And she said, would you do me a favor? Would you talk to Vernon Evans? Because he doesn't have an attorney, but he needs one. Shoot. Dang. So she was like, sure. So we go outside. The judge is mad. He goes to his chambers. And I'm talking to her. She's like, so the judge counts this as a violation. You get taken into custody. I was like, I didn't even know that was an option. You know what I'm saying? I was like, okay. I said, well, would this help? And I handed her my grades and the character letter. And she looked at my grades. She didn't even open the character letter. She's like, wow, all A's. So this will definitely help. So she goes, talks to the prosecutor. And I walk back in, and then I hear prosecutor says, wow, all A's. And then the public defender was like, yeah, it'd be a shame to mess this up. So they said, I agree. So they both go in the back. I hear them laughing, talking to the judge. And then the public defender, she comes out first, and she's like this. Everybody's behind her. So I'm happy. Like, that's got to be a good sign. And she was like, yeah, the judge was impressed with your grades. As long as you get all A's to their program, they're not going to count as a violation. And he comes out and says the same thing. And so, funny enough, in the statistics class, I had an 89.4. I was like, teacher, I need you to make this an A. But he kept it at a B. And of course, it wasn't tripping. And luckily, he didn't count as a violation. And I went off to Berkeley on like an academic scholarship.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah, I was scary, man. From that, I was scared straight, man. I didn't need to go to no prison and have no buff dudes yelling in my face. I needed my mama taking that block off the phone and that talk by the judge when he said he doesn't have an attorney, but he needs one. So,
Sometimes you got to take that block off your life, man, so you can succeed in life, man. It's a great story.
Yeah. I've been trying to do that ever since, man. Since then, I feel like I've been on a monumental rise. So I'm just blessed, man. And lately, I just had a baby. So my daughter's turning 1 next month, and my wife is 7.5 months pregnant. So I'm about to have 2 under 2.
Hey, man.
Cheers to that. Cheers. To that.
You ain't gonna get no sleep, bro.
Hey, man, I don't get no sleep now. I wake up at 2:45 every morning.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. So I met Vern back at Ohio State. You know what I'm saying? Probably, you know what I'm saying, either I don't know if Bob and them was still on Chittenden. I think they had already moved to Highland and whatnot. And like I said, man, you know, we've always been friends on like social media. So like when you left Ohio and you know what I'm saying, just following your journey, like I was shocked when you start posting like the law school stuff. I'm like,
yeah.
I'm like, man, because I know the history. I know the days of state, you know what I'm saying, of kicking them and just hanging out. And so I want to say I'm proud of you, man. I mean, you know what I'm saying, the 180 that you've done and the transition that you've made to, you know what I'm saying, a successful entrepreneur, attorney, and now author, you know what I'm saying, like I'm impressed.
Thank you.
Like I said, man, I remember them days at Old State where we would just be just kicking them at Woody's, you know what I'm saying, hanging out on the porch and you know what I'm saying, just doing whatever. But, you know what I'm saying, we've always stayed connected with, you know what I'm saying, either the fitness, you know what I'm saying, and stuff like that. And then a few years back when I came out to Vegas, we hung out, you know what I mean? But yeah, man.
Man, your boy blew my brains out, man. And cats had some THC 30%. I was supposed to leave. I was like, man, ain't no way in hell I'm about to jump in no car right now. I can't even see. Oh, let me post that more. Man.
Yeah, but like I said, man, you've come a long way, man, and you definitely are a testament to, you know what I mean, there's whatever you put your mind to, you can accomplish it.
Hey, I appreciate that.
Yeah,
One of your brothers is a big reason for that, man. Your boy CP. That's why I gave him acknowledgement and a shout out at the opening credits, man, because when I went to Berkeley, they had this UC-DC program, meaning you get to fly to DC, work for somebody, and go to school, live in DuPont Circle. And when I went out there, I was studying for the LSAT, and I was doing it on my own because I couldn't afford a class. And the LSAT was up, and I bombed it, bro. Like I went there, I did for anybody that knows, it's like 4 or 5 sections: reading comprehension, logic games, or something else. First section, I don't answer like 6 questions. So I was like, all right, whatever. Let me do one more section and see what it do. That one was even worse than the first. So I was like, oh yeah, I'm canceling my score. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna take it again next year. And I was talking to CP, and he's like, man, what's up with the LSAT, buddy? I was like, oh man, it was tough. So I'll cancel my score and I'll probably just get on it next year or next semester. He's like, nah, no, you're not. He said, man, you're going to take your ass sign up with Kaplan and learn and retake it this year. He said, man, it's just a hurdle that trying to keep a lot of people out. Man, you don't take it this year, I'd never take it. I was like, nah, man, I don't want to. He's a Vern. You gonna take that shit this year? Check me. I was like, I mean, DC, I'm ready to get done. I just got there. I'm ready to kick it. Man, forget this test. I need some help. And he was like, nah, you about to do this right now. And I was like, all right. And everybody else I talked to my cousin Mike, nobody understood. And they was like, cool, my parents, cool. CP being an attorney, he knew what it was. And he probably talked to people that let that be the barrier. Because most people I was in pre-law classes with, none of them are attorneys. None of them even took the LSAT. So I took the LSAT. I didn't do great on it, but I finished. And I got into a law school. So I had to thank CP for that. You really put me together.
Yeah, I can testify to how hard that LSAT was, man. I took it myself. So yeah, that is a hurdle. That is a hurdle.
It is. It was no joke, man. I bad. I think I got like a 130 something because they had just switched up the games. The way I learned games was not the way they tested the games, but all the other stuff I did enough to finish. I was like, okay, as long as I got to finish, I'll take whatever score you got. So it was my bad grades and a low LSAT score. So that's another reason why the top 20 schools was like trash. They gonna have to tell me, I applied to Harvard, Berkeley, Yale, all of them. And they all was like, nope. And I didn't care. I knew I could do it. And I did really well my first year. I was on honor roll both semesters. And that was always my goal. I didn't want to graduate from Thomas Jefferson, one, because it was tier 4. And 2, I didn't want to be to a slave holder, even if he was the president. So I was like, I'm getting out of here. And I did. And I'm happy to say that. So Thomas Jefferson was a great school. My wife went there. My wife's attorney too. She graduated from there. I told her to transfer too, though.
I wanted to ask you, man, having a dad, in my life personally, I felt, that it was an advantage to have that figure in my life. And I think a lot of us can attest to having a dad in your life, but there's always times where you're disappointed. I remember times where, I was waiting on the weekend for my pops to pick me up and he'll be late. I'll be calling on my grandma's house or this before cell phone. So you really can't get in touch with nobody. You have to just call where they may be.
Yeah.
How do you plan to approach, fatherhood with, your two, the one that's on the way?
Active.
And yeah,
active. I want to be involved with everything. You know what I'm saying? Even now, like my wife be getting on me because when she's like 6-7 months. Again, I get up at 2:45 every morning, so I'm down in the garage. I usually was at the gym, but once the baby came, I bought a whole bunch of stuff to have a gym in my garage. So I'm working out, and I have the outlet app on. So I hear it, I run to it, hear her crying, I run to her, feed her, get her back to sleep, and go back to do what I was doing. But read to her every night. So, well, actually, I bathe her in the morning and night now because my wife too big. But every night I'm the bath time. I'm bathing her, feeding her, putting her to bed, read her a story every night. And I plan on doing that, her whole life. I just want to be there, you know what I'm saying? Because I know presence is the greatest present you can give somebody,
Oh, man, say that one more time, man.
Yeah, that's another T-shirt alert.
Yeah, that's a bar.
That's a bar.
But yeah, man, and it was crazy, man. Another thing, I'm going to tell you a quick story about my mom. This to show you how woman she is. So me and my sister, we have different dads. My sister's the same age as Mike, 3.5 years older than me. And so I used to call my biological either her first husband or V. I don't believe in participation trophies, so I can't really call him my father. You know what I'm saying? I can call him my biological, I guess. But my mom is so angelic that when he left my mom, he had a baby by another lady. And so my mom, because she knew the only way I would be able to see him, which I really want to see him, was when my sister was watching his other child he had. So she used to let my sister babysit this other woman's child just so I can go see my biological father. And I thought that was crazy. You know what I'm saying? When I think about it now, then I didn't even think much about it. But now I'm like, dang, you know, you hear all these stories about women being vindictive and mean and saying all this stuff. She never said anything mean about him. And I think she gave me a couple of gifts and said it was from him, and I know it wasn't. You know what I mean? And she was just a great woman. And so that's what also caused me to write the second book, Not All Superheroes Wear Capes, because I was like, man, I can't just, one, give all the credit to my father down the street. You know what I'm saying? My mom was really the real hero. You know what I'm saying? But I recognize that it takes a man to raise a man, you know, a real man, even though you, and so I wanted that story to be told because there's so many young boys that's lost following these, making, you know, these neighborhood superstars or whatever, the guys that they want to emulate. And so that's why I focused with that one. But then when I was thinking about it more, I was like, nah, I got to give some love to the single mothers and mothers in general, because the things that they do that we don't recognize as kids is very superhero-like. So that's what the title came from.
Yeah.
But yeah, I plan on being active, bro. I want to do it all, man. I'm trying to encourage them to try early, try often, and fail early and fail often, because I want them to be resilient. And I want them to know that failure isn't a roadblock. It's just a time to sit down and sketch things out and figure things out.
And I think your comment when you say being present is important, man. I'm an educator, and when I'm going through student files and I'm looking at contacts, like if I need to contact home, there's so many times where you just don't see any contact for the father. Like, it's blank.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, it's like, I find that so crazy that it's just blank. Like, it's no name. And 9 times out of 10, that child is the one that's struggling the most with behavior, with academics, because that balance is not there. And like you said, that child will find a role model, but it may not be the right role model. You know, they're going to find something to gravitate to. And so I pay special close attention when I'm going through, you know, contact lists, and I see that it's just a straight blank, because that explains a lot about that child's behavior.
It does.
And on the flip side, when I see 2-parent households, when I see a dad contact, that child's behavior, you know, 9 times out of 10 is manageable. You know what I mean? Because they have that somebody else is going to get into them besides mom. You know, you kind of need that double up. So, you know, it's a shame what happens with parenting. I mean, you don't know people's situation. You know, dad may be deceased, dad may be in jail, but the fact that I can just tell that the behavior based on not having that dad around is very impactful.
Yeah,
so I commend you acknowledging that and trying to address this issue that we have plaguing our community right now.
Definitely a difference growing up, man, because I grew up in all 3 phases. I had both my parents, and then one of my parents wasn't there. Then my dad remarried. So I had 2 parents, single parent, step parent. And it's almost like I was 3 different people. When my parents was there, I was a lot happier. My mom passed. I've been depressed from then till now. Stepmom came in the picture. It's almost I started to rebel. So it's definitely a difference in the household and behavior when depending on what the structure is in the household.
Yeah. Because my stepdad was a piece of shit. You know what I mean? And I didn't realize he was a piece of shit until I got older. You know what I mean? So a lot of things you don't realize until you've kind of experienced what your parents were going through, and you were just watching. You know what I mean? And that time when you watching, it's kind of like you start to live it like, man, he was a piece of shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, you know, but luckily I had my dad to balance that out, you know.
Yeah, no, it's funny because I didn't when was this? Shortly, actually, right before I went to Berkeley, when MySpace was popping, I went to Berkeley like 2007. right before then, I had MySpace, and the cute dark-skinned girl sent me a message. I'm like, who's this sending me a message? And I looked, and we got the same last name, Vernon Evans. I was like, oh, what's going on?
Uh-oh.
And she's like, hey, is your mom named Donna? And do you have an uncle named Duck and Orange or something like that? I almost said the N-word. Anyway, it's a Duck and Orange. And I was like, yeah, my mom's name is Donna. Don't know about the uncles. Then she's like, we may be cousins. And it was, I guess she's like, oh, your dad wanted me to try to find you on here, and I found you. And so she's like, oh, do you want to give him, he wants your phone number, or he wants you to call him. I was like, me and you can talk. I don't know if I want to talk to him. And I was asking everybody. I asked my mom, my sister. I think I even asked my stepdad. No, I didn't ask my stepdad at that point. I asked him later, but everybody said, yeah, you should talk to him. And I was like, I don't want to talk to him. I was somebody to tell me no. And I got one homeboy, same homeboy came to get those pills. Not the one wearing a wire. He didn't know anything about that. But I was like, he's a hater. He'll definitely tell me don't call him. So I hit him up. He calls me and we're chilling. I was like, hey man, I tell him the story about Farron contacting me. And he's like, you know what, dog? I don't think you should call him. And I just bust up laughing because I knew he was going to say that. But the funny thing was, that made me call him. Like, he is a hater. So I'm saying, maybe I should call him. But as soon as I did, the first thing he said was, I've been looking for you since Ohio State. I almost went to hang up on him. I was like, Ohio State? I went to Ohio State at 17, man. Last time I really seen you, I was like in first, second grade. You know what I'm saying? And then he said something about my mom, which I can't remember exactly what he said, but it made me even madder because, like I told you, she was letting me babysit some other woman's child that he had after he left her just so I could see him. So I knew what he said was a lie because my mom had never said anything bad about him. And we still talked for a little bit, but it kind of faded. And then it was crazy. My sister still talked to him because, again, she was searching for that father figure, and I guess she didn't care how and what package it came. And so she told him when I was getting married. And it was crazy because I hadn't talked to him in like 3-4 months. I was trying to find a way to get out of the relationship. And he contacted me and we're talking and I'm getting off the phone with him. He said, wait, I got to give you my address. And I was like, your address for what? Just so I can get an invite to the wedding. And I said it without thinking, and I didn't mean any malice behind it. But I said, oh, it's for friends and family. Oh, man. And he's like, okay. And we didn't talk for like 6 years after that. We just like recently talked because that same young lady that hit me up, I've been in contact with her mom and her. They came out here and I was hanging out with them, and her and my wife, my aunt Jackie, Farron's mom, they were like, somehow they got on him. And they're like, oh, you're hurt. You're still hurt about that. I was like, I'm not hurt. Why don't you talk to him? Like the same reason I don't stop and talk to every person I don't know, because I don't know them. You know what I mean? But I'm not hurt. I've moved on. I don't think about them. I didn't think about them for a while. And they kept saying, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna call them. Just to shut y'all up. Just to prove y'all wrong. And so I called them, and it's cool. It's still like a arm's length conversation. And as you can probably tell from this conversation, I get pretty deep with anybody, with strangers. And with him, it's not like that. And so he would send me like a meme on a holiday. It was like Happy 4th of July meme or something. I'm like, it's the same to you, you know what I mean? And so I still have no ill will towards him or anything like that, but I don't really think we're ever gonna have any real relationship. Definitely not a father-son relationship. I'm 41 years old. You know what I mean?
I'm sorry, go ahead. My bad.
And I've talked to some people, my dad wasn't in my life, and a couple other people, I was like, hey man, I'm never gonna tell anybody how to handle any situation. If you wanna get to know your biological father, by all means, do it. You know what I'm saying? I don't have any I have no power. I don't have any right to tell somebody how they should or shouldn't feel. And so I say, go for it. If that's what you want to do, it's just not what I want to do. I'm a pretty busy guy. And so I don't have any reason to go back. But I don't have any ill will. Like some people like, oh, you should invite him to your wedding so you can show him how far you came without him. So that would be me holding, that would be me being bitter or something, but I have no bitterness to him. So I don't really think about him for the most part. I thought about him when I was writing the book because I had to go into that space to come up with some stories and really to write that story. And that book, that part I was talking about, even the kid was waiting for him, he did go into that, and I did feel some type of way, I guess, from that. I remember being that little kid fighting with my sister, going outside, sitting on my suitcase waiting for him. And then after he didn't come for like 45 minutes, I'm like crying with my head down. And every car that goes by, I get hyped. It's like, that's him, and look up. And none of them was him. And so I remember that feeling, but I still don't think I was hurt by that. I was hurt then. I don't think I'm hurt by it now. And now it's just something that happened. And I push that, there's always good and bad examples to do things. And I think that probably pushed me to be a better father and more there. Yeah. I guess I just got to push.
Hey, man, Vernon, that example, it just resonates with me. Like I said, my dad was there, but those times where he didn't come on those weekends, that when you mention that, man, that really resonates because you push that aside. Like you forgive him. Like he never knew I was hurt by that. Like he never knew that those times he didn't come on those weekends while I was waiting on him. As a child, I can't say when I see him like, Dad, man, that really, pissed me off. So it was kind of like I couldn't really deal with it. I couldn't really address him with it. My mom saw that I was hurt, but it's just different degrees. You know what I mean? So what I do as a father now is like I make sure my child is never waiting on me. Like I don't care if I'm picking her up from practice. I don't want them waiting at all. I never want them to come outside of anything and say, "Where's my daddy?" And that's just based on those small experiences dealing with him not picking me up on the weekend. Now he was probably with some chick. It's probably all types of dynamics that happened. Yeah, but he didn't come, and so I've always vowed to make sure I was there for my children, even if there was times. I don't know, Billy, if you remember, man, at Broadmoor, where, you had to get picked up from basketball practice, right, from Broadmoor. Mm-hmm. And it's like times when my dad was supposed to pick me up, but wires got crossed. He didn't come. I'm waiting on a ride, so those small things kind of like shape you and make you want to be better for your children. You know what I mean? So I think you're going to do that, man. And my only question would be, how are you going to address like the granddad with your children? Like, how are you going to address that situation?
Well, it's crazy because like I was saying, me and my pops or my stepdad was never really close when I was younger after they got married. And I had to grow up and recognize some of it was my fault and developed a love and respect for him after that. So I call him Pops. Mm-hmm. And, I could never called him dad before, except when I introduced somebody to him, like, this is my dad, you know what I mean? And it was crazy because my wife's father and mother too, man, they're that close-knit, strong family that you love from afar, but then when you super with them, sometimes you're like, damn, they look too close at times, But I called him dad, after a while, I called him dad. And I was like, man, that's crazy to never be able to call somebody dad until after you're like 35, 36 years old, because it's been a couple of years. So to answer your question, she has two grandfathers. She has my stepdad, who she called Pops or Papa, and then my wife's dad. And so, people ask, I don't think I'll hide her from him. And if I go to Georgia, I'll take her to meet all her family. If he's there, she could meet him. Not sure. Again, I don't care to hide her from her and say, oh, you can't meet her stuff. But we don't really have that type of relationship. Again, if I show you a text message, you'll see a couple memes again on holidays and stuff. So I don't think it'll be much of an issue. But when I I will and know we'll have to have that talk, especially if I'm interacting with his other family, especially as she get older. So I'll definitely talk to her about it. And I'll just address it head on, man. I figure, honesty is the best policy when she's old enough to understand.
Right.
Well, Vern, man, I want to, thank you for joining the podcast. Once again,
thank you.
My father down the street, I think I caught mine off of Amazon. I don't know if it's available on
it's on Amazon. Hey, quick funny story though. Hold that title up one more time, the book. So I had an illustrator, she's like from the East, the Middle East, Israel, something like that, anything. And so I was going back and forth with the title. I was like, first it was going to be like just a couple rows of houses. And she sent it back with a whole bunch of pink flowers, pink hearts. I was like, nah, this is totally the different tone of the book. You know what I'm saying? I want the mission in action type photo. And it was just crazy. Every time I look at it, I kind of laugh and I think about the first book that she sent me. Yeah, it's on Amazon, man. I can send you a link. I it helps some kids, you know what I mean? And it's a good story. Starts off real happy and ends real happy, but it's some real sprinkled in there. And I think a lot of kids that are going through those type of situations could really relate, identify with it.
I can dig it. Man, if you want to drop your social medias, if you want people to contact you, or how can people catch up with Vern?
Let me see. I just changed my name. A hacker got me on. So if you got a message, I'm glad you ain't blocked me. Some hackers got me early December. It was sending me all types of stuff. So my name is Mr. _ Mastery. So that's what I've been trying to last couple of years, man. Master my mindset. Mr. _ Mastery on IG. I think just Vernon Evans on Facebook. That's it. That's all I got.
Man, we appreciate you sharing your story, Vern. I mean, when I was looking at your resume, I thought this would be a discussion about, being an author and some of the legal stuff that you're into. And we definitely got into that, but I think far more pertinent was, the discussion on fatherhood and, some of the trials you've been through legally and, just some of the things you went through in your childhood. And shout out to you, Doug, and B-Dub for sharing, some of your experiences too. I think we got a powerful episode tonight.
Yeah.
Hey, Vern, are you hit with just real quick, Carol Dweck Mindset, that book?
Yeah.
Carol Dweck, The Mindset?
No.
Yeah, I would get that. That was a book that we as educators they had us read, and it was a pretty good read. Carol Dweck is DWECK.
DWECK. The Mindset. I think I never read it, but I'm big on audiobooks. I'm getting it right now.
Yeah, it's a pretty good read, man. It's not real long.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Give me
no doubt, man. We appreciate you, man. And like Blast said, just sharing your story is inspirational. And I think that book is going to touch a lot of kids, man. Just on different levels. It may not be to the level of to whatever degree it's going to impact people. So congratulations on that, man.
Thank you. Yeah, I just really want them to read it and know that they can find positive role models outside the home, and no reason to feel bad if that's their situation. So yeah,
show that book again, E.
Yes, sir.
Y'all go pick that up.
There it is.
My Father Down the Street, written by Vernon Evans II.
How much is that joint, man? Like $25.99, or how much is that joint?
It's like $11.
That's what's up.
I'm actually gonna try to give it to somebody. I'm saying? Because like I said, I feel like it's a book that a lot of kids relate to, man. I'm seeing, Doug had a similar story. Me, I didn't meet my biological dad until I was 33. We don't got enough time left in the episode to go over that story, but I thought the book was powerful, man. And like I said, if I thought it was trash, I'd straight up tell you. But I'm gonna try to find, somebody that can that's relatable, that can, you know what I'm saying, read this book and put it in their hands. And
hey, I appreciate that. That's the only thing I want to do is touch as many hands and minds of young people as possible, just to let them know that they can do anything.
yeah.
Sure.
Man, if nobody else got anything, we gonna sign out this episode, man. Episode 74 with Vernon Evans. Peace, y'all.
74
Appreciate you, Vern.
I appreciate
Yes,
y'all.
sir.
Appreciate you, man.
Be a shell of a man if we ever depart from my heart to I'm riding with you. I'm riding with you.
Podcast is presented by H&S Media Group. We encourage our listeners to drink responsibly. Please note, we are not financial advisors. We do not offer or provide financial advice. Trademark copyrighted by H&S Media Group.